Hi everyone, this is Dux, and boy, I'm so excited to kick off this new show called Fed Up with my good friend Roxy. Roxy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name's Roxy, and I'm a customer success manager focused on the public sector for Microsoft. And really, what customer success focuses on is end user adoption. So think about seeing the value in Teams and seeing the value in Office 365 and all of those products, such as Office Pro Plus and Windows 10. I'm your girl to help you see the value in that.
So now, people may be wondering why we call this show Fed Up. They're like, how come you guys are so negative? Are you fed up? But why is it Fed Up?
Dux, there's a number of reasons why I think we called this Fed Up. We wanted to do something for our public sector customers, something bite-sized, something snackable for them to kind of be able to watch on the way home or in the office, just to get some quick updates on what we're working on, what AvePoint's working on, what Microsoft's working on. So I think that's really what our focus was with that name, don't you think?
Absolutely. And Fed pretty much is just a shortening of federal government. So this show certainly applies to a lot of people, but we're going to tackle mostly how federal government, U.S. government can adopt the Microsoft stack. So let's just jump right into it, Roxy. So speaking of Teams, I'm sure you've talked to a lot of customers. They're excited about Teams. They want to deploy it, especially now that it's available in the government community cloud. So what are some of the initial steps you're seeing your customers are doing to roll out Teams and make sure they get good adoption and good usage?
Yeah, Dux, I think really where we start at in the public sector is on the evaluation. A lot of my customers and a lot of my colleagues' customers are really evaluating the use cases for Teams and how they're going to use it in HR, how are they going to use it in finance, how are they going to use it with their marketing group. And that's really where we're starting. We're starting to help them define what those use cases are in terms of how they're going to collaborate and transform their work environment. And then also bringing the governance piece and aspect of it into it, really, because really they're trying to understand, okay, once I get my use case and I set up this template for how each different division is going to use it, how are we going to govern it? What are our naming conventions going to be,
And look, frankly, governance is not a bad thing. A lot of people, when they hear the word governance, you're trying to control. No, look, we live in a phenomenal country, but there's rules that govern how we do things. There's stoplight that governs traffic, right? Yeah. There's rules on what we can do and cannot do. And frankly, having governance makes it easy for your users to do the right thing. That's what we want to do. It's like putting those guardrails in the bowling alley, because you want your users to hit those pins. That's what governance is all about. And frankly, from a Teams governance perspective, my word of advice is 3 things you should think about. How do you govern provisioning? Meaning how can teams be created? Who can create teams? You talk about naming policy. What do we call these teams, right?
Yep.
The second area of governance is around governing the use of teams. Once you provision these teams, let's say I'm in marketing or I'm in sales or I'm in this office, as we're using Teams, what can we do and not do? What happens if I upload content with personal information?
Yeah.
How do we manage that? Or how do we ensure permissions around SharePoint that nobody just randomly changes permissions and created subsites and everything's messy. And then the last part, especially in the federal government, how do you govern the information lifecycle? Once let's say the project is done, you're not using the team anymore. What happens to it? What if you're bounded by records management requirements like the NARA mandate, right?
Absolutely.
What do you do about that? I'm sure a lot of your customers talk to you about these things, right, Roxy?
A lot of my customers are concerned about that. The number one question that comes up in most of the meetings are, how long do we need to keep these documents and what are the policies around that? And are we going by our policy settings, by our internal organization? Or are we going by NARA? And how do we decipher that? And what do we do? Or what type of plan of action do we put going forward in that? And then also one thing I wanted you to mention too, I wanted to mention quickly, was around group expiry. A lot of customers kind of come up and say, okay, what if my end users start creating teams and we just get out of control and have 5,000 teams? Then what do we do?
Right. Absolutely. And that's a challenge, right? Without proper governance. And look, it's not a one size fits all. So at the end of the day, you have to right size your governance and really look at what's fitting for you. And you can't boil the ocean as well. Just having a basic framework of how to get started in provisioning, managing, and retiring these teams is very critical. And like you said, coupled with the use cases, that will be powerful for you to get started. So look, if some of our folks watching right now wants to get started, what resources are out there, Roxy, that they can start looking into and taking advantage of?
Oh my gosh, there are a number of resources available to us. And I have to point at one of them that I love in particular that even helped me as a Microsoft employee are your webinars. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Now look, I
mean,
did not buy her dinner. I did not buy her lunch.
No, you did not. There are a number of webinars out there to kind of just get you kickstarted. There are a number of videos on YouTube. I mean, Bill Spencer specifically has a YouTube channel for teams in the government community cloud. There are also your CSMs who are certified in change management and also know about the product and will be able to help you develop that roadmap. And then we also have technical professionals that we can bring in and help, the customer talk about the technicalities. So there are a number of resources. And then also this video, that's a number one start to kind of learn just where do I start once I introduce this product into my environment.
So you talk about customer success helping customers out. So for those that are not familiar, customers watching this, if they need to get in touch with their CSMs, how do they do that?
I think the first part is reaching out to their account executive. And once they reach out to their account executive that represents Microsoft, they'll be able to point them in the right direction of who their customer success manager is.
And obviously, customer success manager's mission in life is to help customers be successful, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're all about value. No sales, just value.
All right. And then with the resources Roxy mentioned, I'll make sure I'll post it up here and click on it and check it out. But boy, hopefully everyone who's watching this found this beneficial. Until the next episode of Fed Up, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter, and until the next one, see ya.
See ya.